guys, what is going on? We got the Northern Trust tomorrow, teeing off bright and early. Wanted to give you guys a recap of my betting card, where I'm landing for the week. Talk a little bit about Draftkings ownership and strategy, the approach that I'm taking this week. Doing something a little different that I don't normally do, but I think it can work this week, especially with a stacked field. So we'll talk about that. So let's get right into it. So Liberty National is our host course this week. We know in terms of skill sets, guys that are a little bit long, good with long irons, dialed in from a proximity from 175 to 200, 200 plus, good bent grass putters. That's who we like this week. So my betting card reflects that. So I am taking a little bit more a few more shots this week than I normally would, and there's a reason for that. So if you think about kind of the next couple weeks, next week we have the BMW Championship. It's only 70 golfers. The week after that, we have the Tour Championship, which is only 30 golfers. So in general, it's a 2 weeks stretch that I'll probably scale back a little bit, and at least in terms of like total volume for the week. And just given how the board is shaking out this week, like there are some big names that you can get some really good numbers on. So for me, it seemed like a good opportunity to stretch it a little bit, take maybe another outright or two than I normally would. So I actually have 6 units in play this week as opposed to the typical 4. But I'm really loading up on guys in that like 20 to 35 range who have a ton of win equity. So where I'm going, so Brooks Koepka at the top, 22 to 1. Justin Thomas, 27 to 1. Bryson DeChambeau, 29 to 1. Daniel Berger, 31 to 1. Patrick Cantlay, 33 to 1. And then my 2 kind of long shot plays, Jason Kokrak at 65, and Keegan, who's rating out really well in my model, at 120. So you look, if we hit a winner this week, we'll be looking at somewhere around, on average, 25 units or so in terms of profit. And I wanted to take a look at kind of the win equity as well. So basically, going in, Data Golf is giving me about a 16% chance of hitting one of these. So obviously, we think that we have a little bit higher chance because we like some of these plays, and statistically they fit out really well for the course. But at the same time, like the field is so stacked. So this is actually the strongest field outside of a major or Players Championship in PGA history. So that's why we're getting these numbers. So for me, I don't know that Brooks, JT, these guys have, significantly less likelihood of winning than Rahm, Morikawa, even Spieth, guys that are priced in the teens. So that's why I'm setting it up this way. It's entirely possible that Jon Rahm comes out here as the betting favorite and dominates the place, or even, a DJ, someone like that. But I think we'll at least have some folks in contention doing it this way, and hopefully we can look through and break through with a big one this week. So, pretty excited. I think, again, just taking a few more shots than I normally would because there's going to be limited opportunities over the next couple of weeks. So that's the betting card. In terms of Draftkings for the week, so let's jump over. Let's maybe take a quick look at ownership first. So projected ownership. So Rahm is expected to be, Rahm and Spieth are going to be pretty popular in the high 10Ks, 11Ks. DJ is a nice pivot. Xander is going to come in under-owned as well. Morikawa is going to be pretty popular. Morikawa is a guy that I just decided to fade this week. So again, it might come back and burn me, but I think the around the green game, while obviously improved, could hold him back a little bit here. At the same time, like he's lost strokes on approach in 2 straight weeks, which never happens with this guy. So again, you can look at it a couple different ways. Those are outliers, start of a trend. Either way, I feel like some of these other guys are probably a little bit more interesting to me, and they're obviously going to come in lower owned. So Brooks, Rory's going to be pretty popular, but JT, Bryson, and Brooks, to me, are all really good leverage in this range. So that's where I'm going to be loading up. You'll see in a second, I've taken a different approach with my lineup builds. I'm going to have a decent amount, sprinkles of some of these other guys like Rahm, Spieth, Rory, etc. But I'm really anchoring on Brooks, JT, and Bryson. In the mid-range, guys like Scheffler, Cantlay, Berger are all going to be pretty popular. That leaves, guys like Hovland and Answer a little bit more of leverage. Hideki and Webb below that. Paul Casey's going to be pretty popular in the 8Ks, which basically opens the door for literally everybody else. So for me, one strategy that I'm taking is load up on everyone else in this mid-range, right? So have got Maybe not as much Adam Scott, but guys like Tony Finau, Joaquin Niemann, in the high sevens, guys like Sanjay, Kokrak, they're all going to come in a little bit lower owned. Keegan, right? Shane Lowry. Like, I'm going to build a core in the mid-range and sprinkle at the top. That's kind of my get creative strategy for the week. In terms of chalked in at the bottom, guys like Johnny Vegas, Seamus Power, because everyone's running the same models, those guys are going to be pretty popular. I'm going to not dip too low into the lower 6Ks. Hank Lebioda, 6,300. I don't know. Anytime there's kind of cheap, relatively chalky guys, I kind of stay away. But I think he's still a solid play. Guys like Doug Gim, they're down here as well. For me, I'm just going to basically grab one of the, studs, one or two of the studs, one or two of the guys in like the low 8s, one or two of the guys in the high 7s. And that's how I'm constructing all of my lineups. So if we jump over to the lineup builder, that's how I set up all of my rules. I'm leaving some salary on the table. I'm anchoring on, lineups only can have 4 of the same guys. And you can see from my exposures, again, I have about 30 guys in my player pool, but I'm getting some exposure to everybody at the top. So I'm going to have, underweight the field on Rahm, but still have some, match the field on DJ, underweight on Spieth, but still have some, and really go heavier on guys like Brooks, JT, and Bryson, who are on my betting card. So kind of doubling down a little bit there, underweight on Rory, and then overweight here on Cantlay and Berger, sprinkle in some of these other guys, right? And you'll see my core is really here in the middle, right? So guys like Finau, Niemann, Burns, Sanjay, Kokrak, Keegan, Lowry. Matthew Wolff is a guy I'm taking a shot on as well. He'll be low owned. The models don't really reflect, I think, how he sets up for this course, the fact that he's a good bent grass putter. So I'm really, again, just kind of loading up here at the bottom. Maybe I don't know, B version of my core would be some of these guys here in like the upper 6s, low 7s, right? So Mav McNeely, Gary Woodland, Seamus Power. I can't get enough Gary apparently, but we're going to take a shot again this week. So anyway, this is how I'm setting it up. Getting exposure to guys that I like at the top. Going to go overweight on certain guys, but sprinkle in a little bit of everybody else. And hopefully, if we nail kind of the mid-range core, which is certainly a more risky approach to doing it this week, but again, the field is so strong. I think you just have to kind of pick some lanes, and it's really hard to split hairs at the top. I think it's a little easier to split hairs in the mid-range because ownership and leverage really come into play. So again, guys like Finau, Niemann, Burns, Sanjay, Keegan, Lowry, even Griot, right? Matthew Wolff, like these guys, I think are going to be a little bit lower owned in the bottom, and if I anchor on those, get a couple of those right, I don't even need to get them all right, but if I get a couple of those right and have the right combination of studs at the top, I think that's the path to victory this week. So again, betting card, Brooks, JT, Bryson, Berger, Cantlay, Kokrak, Keegan, 6 units in play. From a Draftkings perspective, really riding, again, Brooks, JT, and Bryson, but it's really the mid-range, right? Finau, Niemann, Burns, Sanjay, Kokrak, Keegan, Lowry, Wolff. If we get a couple of those right, we're going to be in really good shape. So that's my strategy for the week. Best of luck if you are tailing any of this. Hopefully you learned something. As always, if you like the content, if you like the video, shout out in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to my channel. I know we kept it kind of light this week. Had some things going on in the work and home life, so maybe didn't get out as much content as normal, but I'm sure you guys can relate. So we'll do an update over the weekend, though, for sure. Look at how we're shaking out, anything interesting from a live betting, live stat perspective. So stay tuned for that, probably coming Friday night, Saturday morning. Until then, enjoy the first 2 rounds of the Northern Trust. Playoff golf is super fun, especially when you get these major-like fields. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. So thanks again, as always. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk soon. Bye, guys.